Hello and welcome to this month's episode of Chat OMP. I am your host, William Peake, the Global Managing Partner of Harney's, and this month I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by the Shanghai Managing Partner, Vicky Lord. Vicky, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I am in sunny Shanghai at the moment. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's bright and sunny. Who could ask for more?
Excellent. Well, I am in a very grey and miserable Strangford, County Down, so it's nice to see how the other half live. Vicky, you and I have known each other for actually a very long time. We used to share an office together, so there's obviously a nervousness from my perspective that you're going to drop in lots of references anytime I think I'm losing the run of myself. So we will agree to behave on this podcast and be extremely pleasant to each other. Okay, let's just kick off with the usual question. I know your journey to offshore law. It's a really, really great story. And I think that all our listeners would benefit from hearing about how you start as a barrister in London and you end up as the managing partner of the Harney Shanghai office. Over to you.
I think it was a bit circuitous. I started off in practice as a criminal barrister at pupillage at Chambers in London, and at the time ended up moving across into private practice with Kingsley Napley in their criminal regulatory department, basically as a trial lawyer prosecuting fitness to practice cases. And I was very happy there. They're a great team and I learned a lot, but I reached a point after about 3 to 4 years that I wanted to do something different, try and do some commercial transfer work, and trying to make that shift in London was pretty tough with my background. But I did manage to get an opportunity to do that in the British Virgin Islands. And I'm someone who likes to live in different countries, different places around the world. So when that opportunity came up, I grabbed it with both hands and ended up out there practicing for another offshore law firm for a few years in the commercial court in BVI. And then I think after a while, I guess I'm a city girl at heart and I kind of missed the bright lights and the smoke of the city. So I went back to London and there was an opportunity to join Harney's, their practice in London with yourself.
Thank you.
And with Phil Kite. And I was there, I think, from about 2014 to 2018. And it was in 2018 that I was asked if I would be willing to go to Shanghai to start the office's litigation practice. And I said, give me the weekend to think about it. And on the Monday, I agreed. And the rest is history. It took a while to get across to Shanghai because there's a number of approvals that you need from PRC government in order to practice foreign law in China, but eventually was able to permanently relocate here in 2019 and have basically been here ever since.
Yeah, because I can imagine that was such a gut-wrenching experience, having to no longer share an office with me. But I think you came to terms with that really well, Vicky. So,
like I said, it was the weekend, so...
Oh, I can't believe I teed you up for that. It's annoying. So you moved there to set up that litigation practice. You're somebody who, when I shared an office with you, you clearly are leaning towards management because you are an empathetic individual. And what does it mean for you to be the office managing partner? And kind of what do you think are the defining characteristics of an effective managing partner?
What does it mean for me to be the office managing partner? I think it means a very heavy sense of responsibility for the people that I work with, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with me, making sure that everybody is happy, productive, that we are effective as a business, that I can secure jobs for the people who have them with me and make sure that things are running well so people are content at work. And, you know, we spend a lot of time at work, so creating an environment that people thrive in is kind of key. And knowing that the team as a whole working together to achieve success for our clients, professional success, but also, you know, having great interpersonal relationships, I think all feeds into the mix of what creates a good culture. And so I guess as the office managing partner, if you're going to be effective, you're the kind of guardian of the culture you create. And if it's a good culture, people will do well and you'll make money. And the opposite is also true. So, for me, I do have that sense of responsibility to the team and to myself. And I think that that's really the guiding principles that I apply to the job. And then other than that, of course, the team we have here in Shanghai is quite young, vibrant, and we have a lot of fun as well. So
definitely makes a difference. It's interesting because that's been a general theme of all of these podcasts, is that sense of responsibility fuels an effective approach to the management, and that if you don't have that, it's a kind of hollow exercise. So that is a requirement to effectively do the job.
I think that's true of most leadership positions, though. There's a study that showed that you could have 4 people who are extremely, extremely effective individually, but if they don't coalesce as a team, their work product typically will not be as impressive as the work product of 4 people who perhaps individually don't have the same skill levels, but because they're able to work well together, actually they're more than the sum of their parts. That's something that really struck me, and it's always something that I've tried to apply to what we do here, which is, just collaboration, that working together to really bring out the best in people and really drive the business. And I found that really fascinating. There's quite a lot of stuff out there that tends to show it. So I kind of think it's unsurprising that others have echoed that same view.
Yeah. And I think that point of that kind of observation around teamwork, that's really acute for a business like ours, given the fact we work in so many different time zones, and, the work you're doing in Shanghai will be played out in the courts of Bermuda, of BVI, of Cayman. So that sense of cohesion and teamwork driven by a sense of responsibility is just so critical to the success of our business. And I suppose just kind of picking up on that point, Shanghai was a jurisdiction that was identified by the business as an area that we should be in. I think we retained that kind of first mover advantage, but nobody is better placed to speak to that strategy and the importance of Shanghai and the PRC in our kind of global strategy. Can you just speak to that?
Sure. So I think in terms of China itself, having a presence in mainland has been extremely useful in terms of getting close to our clients. Chinese clients, whether they're companies or individuals, do use offshore structures a lot. That's because of the capital outbound restrictions that there are on capital flows in and out of China. And being able to use a BVI or a Cayman company as a holding company or list co for trusts, for all of those different products that actually are quite critical to being able to conduct global business is something that I think has meant that the clients really do need the help of their offshore counsel. And all I think we've done is just to deliver that service, but deliver it locally. So everybody in our office speaks Chinese, albeit my Chinese is pretty shaky. Everybody does speak Chinese, but the team, they're all fluent, written and spoken. And we're quite often explaining difficult concepts. Big decisions about the future of their business. Sometimes if it's say family trust, it might be a big personal decision too. So being able to do that in the client's native language is super important. You understand things better when it's in your own language. And so being able to do that has been really key to being able to grow our footprint in China and also to really help the clients in a way that they want to be helped. They can be far more comfortable in dealing with these issues with their counsel locally. So I think that's been really key and important in terms of the strategy. And certainly, for the clients that we do have, the feedback is that they really appreciate that we're able to do that for them. And, something that I think it has its challenges, and sometimes for us for recruitment to find, common law qualified lawyers who speak Chinese and English, but that's diminishing day by day as China continues to go global.
Yeah, I mean, those observations around language are really interesting. Of course, the client wants it explained in their native tongue. Why should we force upon them the fact that the documents might be in English and force them to work with our ways? That's never going to work. So we've got a couple more questions. These are our standard questions, and I think you are really well placed to answer the question in relation to advice for a junior lawyer. I think it's interesting as well, just casting our minds back to your first response around, you were working in London prosecuting those fitness to practice cases. To be clear, that's not where we first met. And how you felt a sense of you wanted to do something more. And I think a lot of junior lawyers reach that point, but they feel as if they don't have other options out there. And you're a living and breathing example of the options are actually endless. So what is your advice to a junior lawyer?
The starting point has to be a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
If you're willing to learn and you're willing to put the time in, then you can pretty much achieve what you want, I think, in life. Quite often people fail because they're scared to take the step to learn and they're scared to try. For junior lawyers, I would always say put the time in, do the research, learn everything you can about it, be hungry for knowledge, and it will serve you in the end. And I guess the corollary to that is for the senior lawyers to really promote an environment that's safe for learning. Every time you make a mistake, if someone says to you, oh, you're stupid, the rest of it, it's not fair, but it really knocks confidence. And no client is ever going to want a lawyer that has no confidence. So I think creating that environment where people can learn and really take those steps to improve themselves will create fantastic stars for the future.
No, very well said. It is that kind of active communion between the supervisor and the person that they're supervising, that the young lawyer can have all the appetite, all the willingness to learn, but you're casting that seed on pretty stony ground if there isn't an environment whereby that's encouraged. So I think that kind of two-part answer is really, really important. Finally, who would you have as your famous dinner guest, living or dead?
That's actually quite a difficult question. I would think I would go for probably someone like a Marilyn Monroe, because you could ask lots of questions, get the gossip, and have a fun party at the end of it.
That is an excellent answer. I always say, can I please be invited? But actually, I sometimes say it insincerely, but can I desperately please be invited to that one? That would be a serious, serious amount of fun. Vicky, that was a wonderfully illuminating podcast. I really enjoyed chatting to you, and I think your answers are real help to people who actually do listen to this. This podcast has actually become bizarrely quite popular, and people really enjoy hearing from the managing partners in our offices, and I look forward to having you back on the second series. But Vicky, for now, thank you so much.
Thanks, William. Have a great day.